Welcome to Your Cyber Path, the podcast that helps you get your dream cybersecurity job by sharing the secrets of experienced hiring managers and top cybersecurity professionals with you. Now, on to the show.
What we want to talk about today is the topic of self-care. So if the best way for you to take care of yourself during Halloween is to hide under a rock, by all means, do it, because we don't want to deal with your cranky butt tomorrow. But let's talk about self-care in the context of cybersecurity and your career. And now this is really important because before we get to the tips, what I want to say very clearly is cybersecurity can be an exceptionally rewarding career. I mean, I've been doing it for, a long, long time now. No plans to change, but it can also be wildly stressful at times. And you can be tempted to work too hard and burn out. Or you could be at a job that you absolutely hate. Maybe it was great when you started it, but then you got a new boss or something like that, and now everything's awful and you feel trapped because, hey, it turns out you've got a mortgage, you've got car payments, maybe tuition for somebody in your family, and now you feel like I'm stuck. I have to put up with this garbage, and I don't see any way out of it, right? And so that's going to lead to chronic stress and awfulness, and we don't want any of that for you. So that's kind of, what's prompting us to talk about this. Now, I'm going to come at it from private sector as I always do. Now, Jason, would you say in your experience working in Department of Defense land that the things I just said can also be true?
Oh, 100%. So I was working with the Navy for 20 years and sadly, one of the highest suicide rates for members of the military is those who work as what used to be called a CTN or cryptographic technician network, which basically is government hackers and government defense folks, people work in the cybersecurity space, right? Mm-hmm. And it always kind of made me scratch my head and go, why is that? And a lot of it comes down to this idea of self-care. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it's so important in what we do is you sometimes are going to see some stuff in your job that is just like the worst of humanity, right?
That's true.
When I was working at places like the NSA and other places like that, we are seeing all sorts of stuff that you probably don't want to see, right? If you're dealing with terrorism and you're trying to track down terrorists, you're looking through their emails and their text messages and that kind of stuff, right? If you're looking at, if you're on the internet service provider, you might be looking for things like child pornography, right? Because you're trying to catch people who are doing that and put them away and work with the FBI and law enforcement. And those things can really take a toll on you if you're not doing proper self-care. And that was one of the problems that we were seeing. And so the military and the DoD has done a lot to try to curb that. And they've done a lot of things to try to force self-care on people and try to, put in breaks and things like that. But this is one of the realities of depending on what you're dealing with on a daily basis, you're going to see some stuff that you may not want to be seeing. Those logs, you can see pictures, you could see emails, you could see text, and a lot of that can take a toll on you.
Right. No, that's a great point that I didn't make. And that happens in the private sector as well, where, you might be doing content filtering on your corporate network and you're getting all these alerts and you're having to forensically examine, what is this person doing? And you might see some stuff that you would never willingly choose to see on your own. And that can be absolutely traumatizing. So anyway, or I tell you one thing that I did one time before we start getting to the tips is I had a job where the CEO came to me and said, hey, I need you to investigate something. And as he's telling me, got to keep this confidential. And as he was laying out the case that he wanted me to look in, it had to do with my boss.
Yep. So I've had those issues too, where I'm like looking at my boss or my boss's boss, right? Because when you run the network, you're running it for everyone from
That's right.
All the way down to the janitor.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's the bad guy in this scenario, right? And it could be somebody doing some really awful stuff.
It was really mentally and emotionally taxing because here I am interacting with my boss. He has no idea I'm investigating him. I can't tell him. It's hella uncomfortable. Anyways, there's all kinds of situations.
He's like, Kip, what are you doing for 3 hours a day? I can't tell you, boss. I'm working for your boss right now.
Yeah, it's just awful. I did not enjoy that in the least.